Okay, what is up, you guys? Welcome back to another reaction video. So let's watch WWE wrestlers who got into real backstage fights. Let's watch.
Wrestlers who got into real backstage fights. Curious about the untold stories of wrestlers who took their feuds off the screen? For professional wrestlers, real-life fights outside the ring are nothing new. These clashes can happen in various ways. Sometimes they get in trouble with the law. Other times, they pick up an old feud with a fellow wrestler and decide to settle it off screen, even years later. Today, with social media everywhere, it's tough for any celebrity dispute to go unnoticed, and that includes WWE wrestlers. But who actually...
If it gets that bad to the point where, like, authorities and shit gotta get involved, an ambulance and shit, yeah, that's crazy.
...actually lost their temper outside the ring. I put together a list of some of the most famous backstage fights. Let's dive into the details. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling content.
Like, y'all really hate each other.
Jericho and Goldberg's backstage brawl. During a Raw taping on April 7th, 2003, Goldberg criticized Jericho's performance in a main event match where Jericho teamed with Triple H against Shawn Michaels and Booker T. Given their past history in Jericho's rise in WWE, this criticism didn't sit well with Jericho. He viewed Goldberg's comments as unjust, especially considering Goldberg's past refusal to work with him in WCW. This led to Jericho confronting Goldberg backstage. The situation quickly escalated into a physical altercation. According to Jericho, the altercation unfolded when Goldberg charged at him backstage, placing his hand on Jericho's throat and screaming in his face. Anticipating the move, Jericho managed to put Goldberg on the ground and lock him in a legitimate front face lock.
What?
Despite the size difference, Jericho's grappling skills allowed him to control Goldberg.
Jericho did? That's his big ass? Jericho ain't no bitch, period.
The scuffle continued until other wrestlers and officials intervened to separate the two. Jericho later reflected on the incident, saying, "I'm not the toughest guy in town, but you know where I come from. If you put your hand on somebody's throat, you have to do something about it. So I put him in a front face lock and took him down. Goldberg never punched me. He just grabbed my hair." As the situation escalated, I walked in to find Jericho already applying the front face lock, demonstrating his quick thinking in the midst of the confrontation. Steiner versus DDP. Backstage brawl. Once Scott Steiner finished his segment, he headed backstage, where Diamond Dallas Page was waiting for him. Reportedly, the two exchanged some heated words, and DDP threw the first punch. There are several different stories about what happened next, but it generally goes like this. They clinched up, and DDP ended up in a headlock. People nearby rushed in to separate them, but Steiner broke free and went on a rampage backstage. He got to DDP and suplexed him, even though DDP was much smaller. After that, he took DDP down with a double-leg takedown and tried to gouge his eyes out. Steiner was actually looking to end DDP's career, but Page bit him on the hand, which made Steiner back off.
It got to the point
they were separated again, and that was the end of the fight. According to some accounts, both men ended up bloodied, and DDP's face was badly hurt. Meanwhile, others claim that Steiner suffered some damage as well. The rivalry erupts. Hart versus Michaels. During the mid-1990s, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were embroiled in a fierce professional rivalry fueled by their aspirations to dominate as the top stars in the company. This intense competition spilled over from their on-screen personas, where they often blurred the lines between fiction and reality to amplify their ongoing feud. However, tensions reached a boiling point when Michaels made a pointed remark about Hart enjoying sunny days, implying Hart's involvement in an extramarital affair with WWE diva Tammy "Sunny" Sytch. The comment struck a personal nerve with Hart, who viewed it as a direct assault on his marriage and personal integrity. This led to a backstage confrontation at a Raw taping in June 1997, where Hart confronted Michaels to address the disrespectful insinuation. As emotions flared, the confrontation escalated into a physical altercation, with Hart delivering punches and even pulling out a clump of Michaels' hair. WWE officials, including Jerry Briscoe, Pat Patterson, and other wrestlers, intervened swiftly to prevent the situation from escalating further. Following the incident, both Hart and Michaels opted not to appear on the scheduled show, leaving a tense atmosphere behind the scenes. Michaels, feeling disrespected and unsafe in the workplace, allegedly threatened legal action if he wasn't released from his WWE contract, citing the hostile environment. Sid vs. Arn Anderson. In 1993, a violent fight broke out between Sid Vicious and Arn Anderson after a wrestling show in Blackburn, England. It all started in a bar where wrestlers, including Steve Austin, were discussing their financial struggles and WCW's poor performance. Tempers flared when Sid criticized Ric Flair, leading to a heated exchange with Anderson, a close friend of Flair. Sid expressed frustration about Flair not making room for other talents, which sparked the argument. Things escalated when Sid threw a beer bottle, prompting everyone to leave the bar. Later, at the hotel, Sid confronted Anderson with a chair leg. The confrontation turned into a bloody brawl, with Sid striking Anderson and Anderson attempting to stab Sid with scissors. Sid eventually took the scissors and stabbed Anderson 20 to 30 times. Anderson later described the moment he was stabbed in the stomach and his face. Too Cold Scorpio, who witnessed the fight, noted the hallway was covered in blood, and he intervened to stop the brawl. He later said, "If I wasn't there, Sid or Arn probably wouldn't be here today." Both wrestlers were hospitalized, Sid with 4 stab wounds and Anderson with over 20. They were kept apart and sent back to the U.S. on different flights.
Oh my God.
As a result of the incident, Sid was fired from WCW while Anderson was suspended. Despite the brutal altercation, Sid later apologized, and they reportedly remain on good terms. This fight is one of the most notorious in pro wrestling history. The Backstage Brawl, Orndorff vs. Vader. Paul Orndorff and Vader had a heated backstage confrontation that turned into a full-blown fight. The altercation began when Vader, returning late from a photo shoot, was reprimanded by an irate Paul Orndorff, who thought Vader had no valid reasons for his tardiness. Despite Vader explaining he was on an assignment from Eric Bischoff, tensions remained high. After a match, Vader was asked to do an interview but requested time to change first. During this time, Orndorff continued to provoke him verbally. Unable to hold back any longer, Vader confronted Orndorff, leading to the infamous brawl. Reportedly, Vader struck Orndorff in the chest, knocking him down. Accounts differ on what happened next, but the most accepted version is that Orndorff got up and landed a powerful punch to Vader's face, knocking him down. Orndorff then stomped on Vader while he was on the ground, despite wearing sandals. The scuffle was eventually broken up by other wrestlers and personnel.
Imagine getting
We hope
stomped out
you're
by
enjoying
somebody
the
with
video
sandals
really
on.
well. We appreciate it if you subscribe and
Clothes
hit that
all out.
notification bell for daily wrestling content.
That's crazy.
Eddie Guerrero vs. Road Warrior Hawk. Eddie Guerrero and Road Warrior Hawk had a
But it
backstage
gets to a point
altercation
where you
that
just
took
kinda
place
you
when
just get
Guerrero
tired of
and Hawk
people
were working in
talking
Japan.
about you.
The trouble began after a night of partying at a bar, where Eddie, having had too much to drink, started looking for a fight. He encountered Road Warrior Hawk and began taunting him despite Hawk's warnings to back off. Eddie persisted, eventually provoking Hawk to the point of anger. Eddie, trying to assert himself, pushed Hawk away. Hawk didn't react immediately, but as soon as Eddie turned his back, Hawk struck him on the back of the head, causing Eddie to collapse. With Eddie on the ground, Hawk landed a few more punches on the back of his head, rendering him unconscious. Amid the
But Eddie, you
chaos,
wanted to
nearby
fight, though.
wrestlers intervened and managed to calm Hawk down. Brad Armstrong, the brother of WWE referee Scott Armstrong, helped Eddie into a cab and took him back to their hotel. Eddie regained consciousness in his hotel room, only then realizing what had happened. Piper's confrontation with Nash. At the 1997 Slamboree, the stage was set for a thrilling 6-man tag team match, but little did anyone know that a showdown between Roddy Piper and Kevin Nash was about to steal the spotlight, igniting a fierce clash over creative control. Roddy Piper and Kevin Nash, on opposing sides, clashed over the match's outcome due to their creative control clauses, leading to a stalemate. Piper's team was supposed to lose, a finish that both Piper and his partner, Ric Flair, found unreasonable. Eventually, a compromise was reached for the match finish, but during the bout, Piper deviated from the script, angering Nash and his NWO colleagues. Once the match concluded and the wrestlers returned backstage, tensions erupted.
Yeah, I bet.
According to Piper's accountant,
Dang.
he was in the dressing room when Nash kicked the door open and began yelling at him. Piper responded by charging at Nash and knocking him down with a takedown. The commotion quickly drew nearby wrestlers who intervened and separated the two. The altercation ended with Nash being escorted out of the locker room, effectively putting an end to the scuffle. Batista and Booker T's misunderstanding. Just days before Judgment Day, Batista and the WWE roster were filming a commercial for SummerSlam. During the shoot, Batista remarked about the shortage of opponents on SmackDown due to injuries, suggesting someone should join to work with him. Booker T, feeling this was a slight against the SmackDown roster, confronted Batista. The situation quickly escalated with heated exchanges, leading to a physical altercation between the two. Booker ended up with a black eye, and Batista also showed signs of the scuffle. Following this incident, a fight took place between two wrestlers. After it happened, one wrestler, Booker T, was seen with a black eye, while the other, Batista, appeared a bit hurt. It seemed to be a significant misunderstanding. Later, both wrestlers apologized to each other and reconciled. Although a fight occurred with Booker T, what really stands out about the situation is that he started the fight first. Amore and Janella's concert clash.
So was he like offended or something by his comment, by what Batista said? Or I don't know, because he said it was a misunderstanding, and I kind of don't really understand like why he was pissed off. So did Booker like take offense to that? Like, okay, I'm here. Or did he just take offense that Batista was saying? I don't know. That one's kind of...
Enzo Amore, known for being a polarizing figure in modern wrestling, is someone almost...
I would like to know more of why Booker felt some type of way.
Everyone in wrestling has an opinion on. One of his more infamous moments happened in the summer of 2019 at an unexpected place, a Blink-182 concert. There, he got into a confrontation with AEW star Joey Janela. The details unfolded through a back and forth on Twitter. Enzo tweeted, "Where was that energy at? We ain't friends, Janela. Don't introduce yourself to me, boy. I thought you were a fan. The second I realized it was you, I slapped your ass hands down and walked at you with my hands up. You ran backwards and told me to film it." Janela replied, "Not a work, so I saw the dude and I walked up and I said hi. I'm Joey Janela at the Blink-182 show, and we proceeded to have, not Lennox Lewis, the fist fight of the year, but we had fun." While wrestlers often clash on social media, it's rare to see their real-life issues lead to an actual confrontation outside the wrestling scene. If you're enjoying the interesting stories that go way beyond the ring, please hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss the latest updates. Vince McMahon versus Kevin Watchels. Older wrestling fans remember Kevin Watchels, also known as Nails, as the ex-con brought in to have a feud with Big Boss Man in the early 1990s. However, younger fans probably don't know who he is, and this fight is the reason why. Watchels was angry about how much he got paid for SummerSlam 1992, which was the biggest event in WWE history. He went to complain to Vince McMahon, but Vince reportedly brushed him off, which only made Watchels more upset. In a fit of rage, Watchels attacked Vince in his office, choking him and actually making McMahon turn blue. Naturally, Watchels was immediately fired and missed out on his chance to be in a main event match against the Ultimate Warrior. But that's not where the story ends. During the McMahon steroid trial, Watchels was called as a witness for the prosecution. He was supposed to help send Vince to jail, but he contradicted himself so many times that he might be the main reason why McMahon was found not guilty. Bruiser Brody versus Invader 1. Bruiser Brody was a big name in wrestling during the 1980s and was one of the few stars who never spent much time in either NWA or WWF. He had been putting money into the WWC promotion in Puerto Rico, where Jose Huertas Gonzalez, also known as Invader 1, was a friend of the promotion's top star and promoter, Carlos Colon. Gonzalez was reportedly frustrated with Brody, who had a reputation for refusing to lose matches, especially in WWC. Eventually, Gonzalez allegedly took matters into his own hands. On July 16, 1988, before a match, Gonzalez asked Brody to meet him in the shower to talk privately about business. Wrestlers there that night say they saw Gonzalez with a knife wrapped in a towel.
Oh, hell.
When Brody bent down to enter the shower, Gonzalez allegedly grabbed him by the hair and stabbed him several times in the chest and stomach. Brody was rushed to San Juan for surgery, but sadly died on the operating table. Gonzalez quickly left the building, but was later arrested. At his murder trial, he claimed self-defense and was acquitted. Afterward, Gonzalez retired, maintaining he was innocent, and the Puerto Rican wrestling scene was thrown into chaos for years. Curt Hennig versus Brock Lesnar. On the infamous Plane Ride from Hell, Brock Lesnar and Mr. Perfect, Curt Hennig, clashed in a showdown that left everyone on board fearing for their lives. The stories from this flight are legendary, but this one had everyone on board genuinely fearing for their safety. Hennig was reportedly very drunk.
I feel like a lot of these people don't really I don't feel like it just be the steroids that some of these people be on. It be other shit, because how do you just do that to someone? Like, that's disgusting.
And kept daring Lesnar to try taking him down. Lesnar was still a rookie at the time and didn't quite know how to react. But Paul Heyman told him that if he didn't put a stop to Hennig's taunting, he'd never hear the end of it. So, Lesnar sprang up and slammed Hennig into the plane door, almost ripping it off its hinges.
Wow.
Everyone on the plane was terrified as they watched. Management quickly broke up the fight, and Hennig was fired for his actions. Mickie James and LayCool's heated feud. In 2009, Layla and Michelle McCool teamed up as LayCool during McCool's feud with Melina for the Women's Championship. Later that year, Mickie James moved to SmackDown, sparking a new rivalry. James returned on October 23rd and defeated Layla in her first match back, but McCool, then Women's Champion, snubbed James when picking divas for a bragging rights match. Tensions rose as LayCool began disrupting James's matches, even cutting her clothes at ringside to cause her losses. As their rivalry grew, McCool mocked James about her weight, calling her Piggy James in a cartoon video. At Survivor Series, James' team defeated McCool's, with James and Melina as survivors. On December 4th, James won a triple threat to earn a title match at TLC, but LayCool interfered, helping McCool retain her championship. In early January 2010, LayCool attacked James during a match with Beth Phoenix. After Layla lost to Phoenix, LayCool assaulted her, prompting James to intervene. On January 22nd, LayCool threw a leaving party for James, complete with a pig-shaped cake, but hit her with the cake during a brawl. At the Royal Rumble, Layla dressed as Piggy James. James attacked her, distracted McCool, and pinned her in under a minute, winning the Women's Championship. However, on February 12th, LayCool defeated James in a non-title handicap match, continuing their bitter rivalry within the Divas division. Flair and Lynch's tense SmackDown. In a dramatic turn of events on October 22, 2021, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch found themselves at the center of a controversy during SmackDown, with a seemingly simple belt exchange spiraling into a heated confrontation. PW Insider reported that the title exchange went off script when Flair dropped the Raw Women's Championship belt on the mat instead of handing it to Lynch. Lynch responded by throwing the SmackDown Women's title at Flair, escalating the situation. Frightful Sean Ross Sapp revealed that disagreements had arisen over the segment. Originally, Lynch was to grab the title from Flair and boast about being Becky Two Belts. But Flair felt this approach made her look weak. Despite her concerns, Flair was told to proceed with the plan. Many backstage already expected an awkward outcome, which intensified when Flair dropped the title. Following the segment, Flair and Lynch had a heated confrontation backstage. Flair claimed dropping the belt was accidental, though many WWE staff were skeptical. To avoid further issues, Flair was asked to leave the venue before Lynch's dark match with Bianca Belair ended. Adding to the tension, it was noted that Flair and Lynch's strained relationship began when Lynch called Flair plastic in a promo. During SummerSlam weekend, Flair admitted to Renee Paquette that their friendship had cooled. The incident frustrated Vince McMahon, though it's unclear if he's addressed it with Flair. Sources told Fightful this wasn't the first creative disagreement involving Flair, including previous conflicts over her Raw match with Bianca Belair. Luna and Sable's tense WWF rivalry. In the late 1990s, a fierce rivalry brewed between Luna Vachon and Sable in the WWF. This tension wasn't just for show. It extended beyond the ring and led to an intense backstage feud. Luna, a dedicated wrestler from a legendary wrestling family, was deeply invested in the craft, while Sable, a rising star, became popular with a more glamorous, crowd-pleasing style. Their rivalry came to a head in 1998 when Luna and Sable faced each other at WrestleMania 14. Luna expressed frustration during preparations, as she believed Sable wasn't fully committed to learning wrestling techniques, especially taking bumps, the falls and hits that make wrestling matches believable.
Right.
According to Luna, Sable's attitude made her difficult to work with, and WWF officials cautioned Luna against injuring Sable, saying she'd lose her job if she did. After their WrestleMania match, Luna felt underappreciated. Despite her efforts to carry Sable through the performance, Sable received praise from the company, leaving Luna disappointed and only consoled by her friend, Owen Hart. The backstage tension escalated to the point that Luna was reportedly suspended in early 1999 due to an altercation with Sable. Luna later shared that working with Sable felt disrespectful to her hard work, especially as the women's division became more focused on looks than wrestling skill. The rivalry symbolized the contrasting directions women's wrestling was taking and left a lasting impact on Luna, both personally and professionally. In the end, the off-screen lives of these wrestlers remind us that the drama in professional wrestling isn't always confined to the ring. From legendary rivalries like Bret Hart and Shawn.
You just want to come out here and be cute, and I'm all for being cute. But I'm trying to like put on a show and do my thing. And you just want to be cute, and then they blaming me because you cute. And you know there's like a whole type of like, there is some favoritism, especially when you're more attractive. So I'd be pissed too.
On Michaels to spontaneous run-ins like Enzo Amore and Joey Janela. The lines between personal and professional feuds often blur. Whether it's a misinterpreted comment, a buildup of long-standing tension, or a split-second decision, these incidents give fans a look inside the raw emotions and unpredictable nature of wrestling life. These real-life clashes may seem shocking, but for these wrestlers, it's just another day in a world where passion, pride, and personality collide. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video,
alright, you guys, that's going to do it for this reaction. Make sure to leave some likes and comments down below. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next one.